Everybody, hello, happy Friday. Just to kind of check in, because I realize sometimes I get on these rants and then like I'm not as engaged with some of you. Please know that it is not intentional. I love reading what you're writing, and I love having you in here with me. Hello Joey, hello. I believe that things should be fine here as far as the power. We just had a storm go through, very spring storm-esque, and we had a few blinks of the power, but so far it was just entertaining to watch, and here we are. I'll be curious if any of the thunder is actually heard through here, because I am in a closet, if you did not know where my reading tent is. Oh, that's fantastic, Tess. Very strong communication last night. They connected clearly with the pendulum. Excellent. So you have found a tool that works best for you. It's fantastic. Yes, just got the Patreon notification for the live, and I was like, yes, glad you made it. Yeah, I'm trying to do better about like giving all of the Patreons an update. I just don't want to fill up your inboxes all the time. So I want to do like the monthly where I just tell everybody like, hey, I'm going live like regularly on Fridays. But I know this week I wasn't sure if I'd be going live today or on Wednesday. So it was today, which is my regular live time. Adrenaline spikes. TikTok has been a lot. Yeah. Hi. Oh, I wonder if anybody heard the thunder. That was a good one just now. That was a really good one. Oh, thank you. My lippy goes great with the sweater. Yeah, so this is a, I have words. This is a scarf. Thank you, Elizabeth. Also, thank you for noting my lip color. I just got new lip color. It takes me like so long to actually commit to another lip color, and when I tell you I was in Ulta just like staring blankly forever. I was. This is one of the times where I should have done an intuition check, and instead I was getting overwhelmed because like this one lady kept coming up to me and asking if I needed assistance, and I kept being like, no, like I can read, you know, like, and I didn't want to be insulting about it, but I was just kind of like, I kept looking at the things and I was like, okay, this is what I'm looking for. And then like she kept showing me like on the back of her hand, which I was like, and I was like, we're two different skin tones. So your favorite and what looks best on you is fantastic. I don't have the same skin tone. So I was just like, can I please read? Can I read on my own, please? Leave me alone. me in stores, I can make a decision, and I am decisive. It just takes a little while. So that's just me. I don't like talking in stores. I'm like, can I please be left alone so that I can choose what I want to choose? Thank you. So yeah, I don't know. Great. So same brain. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Katie. Yeah, I just updated my website. That's going to be one of the things that I talk about tonight. Hello. Yeah, exact same way. Okay, thank you. Because I just don't like being pushed to buy anything, and I'm more likely to like look at somebody and not buy anything on principle just because they're pushing me to do it. So, hello, people who are joining. Oh, no one's special. Well, I don't know you, but I'd like to think that you are special. Hello, hi. From Colorado, hello. Hello from Pennsylvania. Hello, cool. Yeah, it is very awkward having someone constantly hover over you in a store. Thank you, Juno. You get it. Like, I understand it's their job. I understand they do make commission. I'm just like, please leave me alone. And like, I think also because I just have like this sort of lost look, and maybe it's because I look younger than I actually am, generally speaking. Yeah, and another thing is I like to go more natural in colors, and this was kind of like that compromise where it's like it's there but it's not overwhelming. So yeah, I'm just like, ah. Hello, fellow Rebekah. Yeah, I actually, if you happen to see a Boo Crew exclusive live with a certain fellow named Damien, like 2 weeks ago, I wore dark lip color. I actually, Theron did my makeup, if you could not tell. hilarious. And yeah, I actually was kind of inspired by that. I was like, oh, lip color, not black. I'm not committing to that anytime soon, if ever. But yeah, I was like, lip color. So, oh, the necklaces. Thank you for saying that, Katie. Yeah, so this is actually something that if anybody is interested in getting for themselves, this is the Rebekah the Ghost Guide necklace, and it's available on lalalotusco.com. This is actually part of the collaborative line that I worked with on her, and it's got a lot of my favorite beads and crystals and that sort of thing. And then this, the whole point of it is so that everybody has a bit of individualization with their piece. So you can actually uncork it and put something inside with these little crystals here. So I like the idea of coming together, but also having this element of individuality amongst us. So but yeah, I'm wearing a lot of Lala Lotus today. This is actually a bracelet that she made to match this, and it was just a gift that she made. And then some other exciting things. This is to the mods. Mods, hello. I know that you're there. This is our little, I commissioned Lauren to do a mod specific bracelet for the winter solstice for all of us. All these beads mean different things to us. And then this is the Rupert protection bracelet, not the purple one, but this one in the middle here, which is also a part of the Ghost fam line. And then this is actually not a Lala Lotus. This is a Memento Mori. And it was a piece that was made following the first Sacred Spaces gathering. Memento Mori was there, and yeah, they just made that for us. And it's kind of hard to see, but they're little cute mushrooms on it for our logo. So, well, thank you for saying that. You fascinate me. Thank you. Yes, Rupert protection bracelet. It doesn't literally mean like he comes to your house and protects you. He's way too busy for that. But these are stones that he helped to pick out for different elements of protection. You can read about that on the website that I just did a facelift on, and I'm really proud of that. I have to say, I'm going to give another shout out to Theron because I'm so proud of them. So you may know them as Catherine. I'll leave that to them to talk about more, even though they already have. But they recently made a website, and I thought it looked so fantastic that they actually inspired me to look at my website and do some fixing. I'm also talking with a business consultant about a few different things that I can learn and grow on my channel and that sort of thing to give y'all the best that I can be for you. And yeah, I've just had so much inspiration, and that's going to be some of the things that I talk about. Yeah. Oh, fellow Rebekah, you have a Rupert protection bracelet and you love it. Yay! Yeah, I super love it. I've got this black one here, and then I've also got like the cord is a navy one, and I kind of switch them out. So how does an average session of mine work? Thank you so much for asking. Okay, you got into one of the topics. I actually made notes for what I wanted to talk about today, and that is actually one of them. So I'm going to back up and then I'm going to move forward. So big thing, I already informed my Patreons about this. If you want to know things first, it's going to be out on Patreon. I have a little newsletter there. You don't have to pay for it. I do send out just like general information to everybody. You don't have to pay for it. Though if you want to pay for it, there are a lot of tiers on there and I work very hard on them. That being said, so the readers team. Y'all know I have a readers team. And as of yesterday, I did not have a readers team. And this was a decision that I had been thinking on for a little while now because I felt very, very spread out. And it's nothing that any of them did to me. These are all commitments that I made for myself. I have started to make more video appearances, both in the States and abroad. And I wanted to give more and more to my Patreons. And I have some more announcements on what's going on Patreon, the new things that happen this month and that we're going to be doing continuing or moving forward. The thing is, though, I felt that with my readers team, I was starting to notice I was getting overwhelmed with very basic things in regards to processing invoices, marketing them, promoting them, giving enough of myself to them to make our collaboration worth it for them. So I made a very hard decision to disband the readers team. Now, here's the thing. they're not gone. None of them needed me. I just want to be clear about that. I have a larger platform than all of them, and I believed in all of them, and I love what they do. And so I wanted to give back to them so that they could continue to grow. And I feel that I have done that. I have done that to the best of my ability. Some folks have been with me for years. Some folks have been with me for a few months. And I have cherished all of them throughout this time. I wanted to focus more on myself again. I wanted to focus more on where my avenues were going, as far as where, basically, I'm the kind of person that I want to do like everything at once. And I realize that's not exactly responsible, especially the more people that are following me, the more patrons that I have, the larger the community gets, the more I want to commit to people, but also for my own one-on-one consultations. If I am being pulled in a bunch of different directions as far as like handling invoices and helping to answer questions that people have about the other readers and that sort of thing. There's the back end sorts of things. There's the taxes sort of things. And this started coming to my mind after taxes this year, where I was just like, woo, that was a lot. I think a lot of people who may not be entrepreneurs or independent contractors, they may not always think about everything that's involved in the back end of things. The reality is I'm not at the position where I'm able to pay a bunch of people to do all of that stuff for me. So on top of what you see here, making content, going out, having experiences so I can make the content, traveling to make the content for you, running the Patreon and answering emails and press sorts of things and lives and the workshops and the courses and all of the sorts of things. And then you add like a bunch of other people that I was navigating and helping them do what they needed to do as far as like platform-based things. So that's why I disbanded. Now here's the thing, they all exist. They are all still doing their things. And I'm so proud of them. I think of like Theron, for example, who started working with me 2 years ago now as a reader on my team. It was towards the end of the year, not last year, but the year before. They have their own webpage now. Like, they're doing their own thing. You are going to hear more about that when they go live later, if you're interested in watching them. That's Catherine, officially Catherine, for those of you who are new. And I'm so proud of them. I think of Krista Capers, the emotion coder who was on the team, started as an emotion coder, became a body coder, and is looking to become another different kind of coder, which I don't want to out for her yet. So, or Lauren, I met her through, she gave me a piece of jewelry, and then we started working on a line together. I just got such a good feel from her. She had a consultation with me. We met, and she has just been growing and growing and growing. So much has happened. I always wanted this to be a kind of foothold for people. I never wanted it to be under Rebekah's umbrella or that kind of thing. I just wanted people to know that I endorsed these people as far as like me believing in them and me wanting to get the word out about them. And they were able to choose how much they wanted to grow on their own beyond my page. So if you're interested in them, please know that they still exist. They're still out there. Just because they are not a part of Reader's Team under my brand, that by no means means that they're not doing what they do. That doesn't mean that they're any less of what they have been ever since I started talking about them and promoting them. So do follow them on their various social medias. I've mentioned them plenty of times before, and certainly if you're on my Patreon, I've had them tagged numerous times on different videos that I've made and that sort of thing. So just want to put that out there. I didn't want anybody to think that there was any hard feelings or anything like that. I've been so overwhelmed. Like, growth is good. Growth is good, but it also has taught me what direction is in not only my best interest, but also my audience's best interest. And so this has been a chance for me to learn and grow myself. And I wish all of them the best as they move forward and as they continue to do their own ventures. And I will still support them. I will still talk about them. I will still just give them all the good vibes and all of that moving forward. They won't be exactly on my website. I'm updating my vetted practitioners page, so you'll still be able to find them there, though that will be that. I still support them as people, and I still support them as practitioners. They're just not on my reader's name. Oh, thank you. That was so cool. So yeah, cool. Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, I do regular lives, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard on Fridays, and I have started to do at least once a month a Patreon exclusive live, so you don't have to be with a bunch of other people. We can actually speak face to face virtually. So yeah, okay. Let's see, other things to note. Sacred Spaces. Part 2. Okay, so Sacred Spaces Part 2. Now, if you follow Emily and Crystalline's podcast, they already talked about that, I believe, on the episode that came out yesterday. So if you want to catch up on that, they go into it more and more. Yes, Sacred Spaces Gathering. Yes, and so, as I mentioned, I'm mentioning that there because it was based on our little logo. It's so cute. Now, Sacred Spaces Gathering is happening again. It is happening in September of this year, 2024. And it's going to be happening throughout, let's see, it's going to be the 26th through the 30th, technically, of September. Though the main conference is going to be happening on the 28th and the 29th. That is a Saturday and Sunday. Now, the reason why I said long spaces is, oh, you have that bracelet too? Awesome, Caitlin. Also, thank you for being here. Sorry, that was like such an ADHD moment. I don't think I have ADHD, but like that was such a like, ah! So you had that too. Oh, Katie, you'll be missing it. Well, Sacred Spaces 3. That'll be happening. So anywho, this year, or not this year, but this time for Sacred Spaces 2, we are doing this cool thing called a la carte experiences. So on the first one, which was really our trial run, we learned so much. We are fixing so much. And the reality is we weren't going to know just how much we would need to change and fix until we ran one. So all of you who came to the first one, all of you who believed in us, all of you who worked with us, I don't feel like that much stuff went sideways or anything like that, but certainly as creatives and collaborators between Emily and Crystalline and I, we always want to do the best. Like we always want to learn and grow from these experiences. So we've listened to a lot of different people's feedback, that sort of thing, learning from our own experiences, and we're bringing something even better. So this time we're having these things called a la carte experiences. Rather than have VIPs, we're have a la carte experiences. So that means that people who book into the a la carte experiences will get time with different creators that you heard of, myself, Theron, Crystalline, Emily, Rebekah, who's Bruja Bones, Goddess Annette, who I've also had here on the live. She also came out to the first Sacred Spaces and had an amazing speech with everybody. We're going to be having workshops, but the a la carte experiences, that's for smaller groups, less than 30 people, and you get to go out into the world for field trips and actually learn this stuff in real time. So, for example, I mentioned Theron. You may know Theron as officially Catherine. So, Theron is going to be hosting a paranormal investigation with tech, and also an intuitively led paranormal investigation. Now, they're going to be focusing primarily on the actual investigation part because they don't want their intuition to be like, all in the way of like the results that they get. It's just, here's the thing. For paranormal investigators, whenever they say, I really have this feeling like I should go into the room, they may say that they're not a psychic or a medium, and that's fine, like titles, whatever. But if they're like, oh, I feel like I need to go in that room, that's intuition. So just throwing that out there. If your paranormal investigator doesn't have any intuition, they wouldn't know which rooms to go into to get the most results unless somebody told them. Anyway, I digress. So, yeah, if you want to get out in the field and you want to learn how to do a paranormal investigation, that's going to be one of the magical add-ons, which thank you for saying. That's what we are calling them for a la carte experiences. The other things for add-ons, Emily and I are going to be doing part ghost convo, part channeled history in Williamsburg, which is an hour outside of Richmond. That's actually going to be happening on Monday, so that's after the conference technically. But you get to walk around with us, channel history, and talk to ghosts in Williamsburg, which is one of the largest colonial, living history places in the United States. Like, it is super cool. In fact, part of Williamsburg is going, like, the last time that I went there and did reads and that kind of thing, that's going to be pre-released on Patreon. let's see, probably, actually this upcoming week. Yeah. I just realized I was supposed to edit that today. This week has been so weird. It's okay. It'll be edited later. So that's coming your way. Anywho, so other magical things. Crystalline is going to be talking about building talismans. We are, like, Rebekah is going to be talking about spiritual, what is it exactly she's talking about? It's going to be finding different spirits in like urban areas and like how you can find spirit anywhere and that kind of thing. I'm sure she could describe it far better than I am right now. Other things, we are doing a version of Mystery Science Theater, but we're doing it while watching an episode or the worst cases of Ghost Adventures. So that's going to be Theron, Crystalline, myself, and Emily just ripping Ghost Adventures apart. Because they don't handle things well. They are not like kind to spirits. They are not consensual with what they do. And so if you want to get all the tea on how we feel about like the scariest moments of Ghost Adventures, that's what that's going to be for. It's going to be like Mystery Science Theater, but it's also going to be like comedy show, like Let's Go, because it's just going to be a thing. So we're also doing a meet and greet experience. And I think one of the other cool things that we're doing, one of the things we're repeating is a speed read event where we're going to have a bunch of different readers. And another thing that we're doing, if you want a trio reading from Crystalline, myself, and Emily all at once, that's going to be a magical add-on too, which I am so excited about. I love teaming up with other practitioners that I just like gel with, and we just like go. It's just like this and this and this and this and this, and all three of us at once. Get ready. Like, I'm so excited. So that's going to be the things. Those are going to be the magical add-ons or a la carte experiences that we are adding to the conference this year. There is going to be a kind of meet and greet as well, where we can just hang out and meet each other. That's going to be similar to what we did last time. But then the conference itself, we have a bunch of workshops lined up. We've got workshops led by Goddess Annette this time. We have workshops led by a really talented healer, which I'm not sure if you would know her name, but trust me, if you come, you will not forget it. Her name is Marlene, by the way. Like, I met her last time and her healing ability is amazing. She also has a background in physical health. She has a degree. Is it a PhD or something? She's got like one of those higher degrees of like nursing, that kind of thing. So she understands the actual anatomy of healing, but she also understands the spiritual side of healing. So there's that. There's going to be a workshop led by Rebekah again. And we've got like these really awesome keynote speeches that we're doing. Like, I'm truly, Sacred Spaces 1 was one of the highlights of everything that I have done. Whether that's been mediumship, spiritual stuff, whether that's been theater before everything shut down in 2020. Sacred Spaces was one of the coolest things that I ever did. Meeting people there was one of the coolest things that I've ever done. And having that experience, having the chance to share that space and gather with like-minded people was amazing. Absolutely amazing. And that's why we wanted to do it again. So I hope you will consider joining us. The ticket sales were pre-released to those who came to the first conference today, and they will be released publicly, officially, on the 23rd of this month. So if you want more information, go to sacredspacesgathering.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, where we will be doing updates as well. But I just want to say it was the most amazing thing that I've done, like, years and years and years. One of the highlights of my life up until this point. So if you were there, if you were involved, volunteer, reader, vendor, participant, VIP, wherever you were a part of one of the most magical things that's ever happened to me. So thank you. And I hope that we get to spend time together again, whether that's in September or whether that's another time leading up. So yes. Okay. It was magical. Thank you, Caitlin. You're a part of that magic. For sure. So that's Sacred Spaces. Let's see. I talked about the readers team. Let's see. Other things I wanted to update you on. Yes. Okay. So things that are happening in Patreon. I'm just getting more and more excited because I'm like, yeah, so things that are happening in Patreon right now. And speaking of Caitlin is actually helping to head up one of these things. It's called the Spiritual Study Hall. I had this idea of people getting together to just learn and grow together in a study hall kind of atmosphere. It is all virtual. There is a group chat where I love the conversations that are going on in there. So often it's somebody being like, hey, this is happening to me. Does this happen to you? What's that like for you? That kind of thing. People helping each other out. I'm learning stuff from this group chat, but also it is, I believe like roughly every 2 months, or not 2 months, every 2 weeks, they're meeting virtually through a Google Hangout, and Caitlin's heading that up. One of our other members, Paige, is also heading that up. And it's just a time for people to come together and to share what they are learning about spiritually. But also it's a chance to encourage people. It's a chance, just to know that you're not alone. We do a lot of vibe checks in there. I notice in the group chat, we do a lot of like, hey, are we feeling this today? Like, goodness, this past week it was, hey, does it feel like you're a day ahead or a day behind, or like timey-wimey is totally weird? Yes, Caitlin, bi-weekly. Thank you. It's called Spiritual Study Hall, but it's specifically a part of the exclusive community tier in my Patreon. And that's a private tier, like it's a tier, basically, it's a Facebook group that starts out. We have a social call each month. I usually head up the social call, and my mods are usually there. Caitlin's usually there. Patreon. Yes. Join the Patreon. Yes. Let's see. Yeah, in the social group, it's a great chance to like meet each other. We do heavily monitor the sorts of posts that are in there. I am involved in there. I'm not on every post, but I am actually involved. Thank you for the gift. And the other thing that's going on in the community tier is something that I'm just starting with another one of our members, Angela. We're starting this thing called Intuitive Entrepreneurship Club. And it's called a club because it's not always like, you can get entrepreneurship advice in a lot of different directions, but can you get the sort of support from other people who also have the intuitive acknowledgement of their entrepreneurship or of their business? So that's going to be something. It's called a club. There's a group chat, and there's going to be a virtual meeting, I believe next week. And for that, as I said, I'll be heading up that with another one of our members. Both of us have experience running our own businesses as well as growth in those, and we're there to support each other. That's the thing. I feel like if you've been raised in Western culture, it's a lot of like how to be better than the next person and that kind of thing. Whereas I'm kind of like, well, how can we learn from each other? I have to say, I have learned from so many incredible like spiritual entrepreneurs. Like I'm gonna name Emily, for example, Crystalline. I love my business collaboration with them. Also Lala Lotus, like truly a force to be reckoned with. And I find more and more people that are starting to lean into this intuitive side of business, and how we don't have to just like crush each other down. Like we can trust ourselves and actually learn and grow and be more group setting together in order to grow together. So that's really what I want to cultivate in that group. And I'm there to learn too. Just saying, like I will be there to learn myself because I'm growing things myself. Obviously, I mentioned some changes that have happened. So that's all in the community tier. And of course, those are the main new things that are happening in my Patreon right now. I am releasing schedules at the top of the month to all of my Patreons, just as a sort of like, hey, these are all the things that I'm doing this month. Of course, if you want pre-release skits, that's just $5 a month. That really helps to support me. And it also means that you don't have to worry about the algorithm anymore. You just get skits delivered to your inbox at least once a month. This past month, it was twice a month. And I sent them. They can be anywhere between 5 minutes to 20 minutes, just depending on how creative I was and how quickly it was to edit things. So, other things that happened this month in my courses, I talked about death and transition, and I also had other people weigh in on that topic. One of our members of Patreon asked a question of like, how do we see death and transition? Like, how does that work? Especially with different places to go and all that stuff. It can be a very overwhelming kind of conversation. So I didn't want to just answer that question. I asked colleagues of mine to give their input on how they see death and transition working as spiritual practitioners, mediums, and psychics. And I didn't watch their videos before I made my own. None of them watched each other's videos. And what I love is how things line up, but we might have different words to explain the same kind of concept. So it was really, really cool. And I think that's one of my favorite courses that I've put out. By the way, if you're interested in courses starting at $10, you can get 160 hours immediately. So if you only want to pay for 1 month and you just want to roll through everything all at once, go for it. Would I love to have you a member longer than 1 month? Absolutely, because there's like merch and stuff, and there's like a lot of stuff going on. However, I understand not everybody's in that position. So just something to consider. Also, hey, Paige, I was just talking about the Spiritual Study Hall. Paige B is the other one that is helping to head that up with Caitlin, and I am so appreciative to you, by the way. I don't know if I ever mentioned that to you, so I'll say it to you live. I am so appreciative to you. I am so appreciative to all of you who are getting together and making that study hall into something truly unique and cool and supportive, and just, I'm so excited. There's just so many good things happening right now. Such a fun time. Thank you, Paige. Thank you, Caitlin. Okay. I'm going through my thing. Oh, another new thing that I'm doing right now. Okay. So some of you may have heard of the soul journey readings that I've been doing, where I go into different past lives of yours that your spirit guide wants to get into. Basically, the way that it works is I go for an overarching theme that likely has something to very much do with your present. And then we look through your past life stories to figure out what did you learn from those stories to help you in your present so that you can make better decisions for your future. I also do a spirit guide reading in that so that we know who we're talking to, what they're about, that kind of thing. And we go from there. So, yeah, let's see. That's something that I've been offering for a little while. It's something I'm very passionate about. Now, I'm also offering a service that is for two. So if you want to split that fee down the middle, get together with a bestie or somebody you're in a relationship with, or maybe a parent or a sister, brother, family, whatever, whoever's just, curious about this sort of thing. If you want to split that session and see how the two of you have known each other in different past lives, that's what that's for. I've done this a few times unofficially with different people, and now I'm actually offering a proper booking for it. And that means that both of you get a single spirit guide reading, and I also get to look into past lives on how you two knew each other in different lives. This is actually something, the first time I did it, goodness, it was truly by accident. Because I was talking with a friend, or she's a friend now, but back at the time we were just meeting. And she wanted to know how her and her boyfriend had known each other in different times, and he was kind of hanging out. So I was like, cool, I've got consent. Let's go. That's how it started. And then things have grown and grown and grown. I've also done this for myself. I remember Lala Lotus and I, we kept coming up. We were like, we know each other from somewhere. We have a past life connection from somewhere. And so we did this reading. And the cool thing was, because she's also a very talented reader, she pulled cards from her end and I pulled my stones from my lithomancy set. And we just cross-validate each other the whole time, which was super, super cool. And I've also done this for different clients and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's been really cool. So if you want a treat for yourself and a bestie or whoever you want to talk with, I would love to meet with you. All that information's on my website. As always, I will never DM you about any readings. Ever, 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 ever. I am strapped. I cannot be in my DMs. I literally talked about this on the first part of the live, how very spread thin I have been as of late, and I'm doing a lot of different measures to not be as spread thin. So believe me, I am not in your DMs talking about readings, being called to you, anything. If you ever DM me on Instagram or Facebook, there's actually an automatic message that says, I'm not in my DMs. Website is everything. Website is everything. Promise, promise, promise. Website, and I'll throw in Patreon as well. Granted, on Patreon, I'm not DMing people for readings there either. I'm just basically being like, hey, we're doing this, and that kind of thing. Cool. Okay, so yeah, that's that. I do have some Patreon questions that I want to get into. These were questions that were asked on different courses that I talk about and that sort of thing. But before I do, I just want to check in with all of you. And Ray, there's your question. How's the book going, if you don't mind me asking? I don't mind at all. Thank you so much for remembering. It is going. As I said, I've been spread so thin recently, and that's actually one of the things. It's so been on my mind as of late. I want to get back to it, and I have just not had the time. Even as I've lessened my consult schedule, it's I'm working on it. But thank you so much for asking. Like, it's in its final draft stages. Like, it's so close. And I think part of the reason why I've taken a break from it, or like the larger reason of it, is that maybe I needed some space away in order to better understand what it is that the book needed to really be all that it is meant to be. So know that it's coming, and the first announcements of how that is going to be coming out on my Patreon. You don't have to pay in order to be a part of the free newsletter. So, yes, thank you for helping each other out. Yeah, the only link in my bio, if you go to the only link in my bio, I believe it's one of the top things if you want to book with me. So everything's in the link in my bio. There's like a big link page sort of thing. So yeah. Let's see. Yeah, and also thank you mods, thank you patrons. I see all of y'all answering questions in there for what I am seeing. I super appreciate that. I will answer a question from one of my Patreons. This is from Katie. Asked on one of my course videos, speaking of quote true callings, what work should we do to find the alignment of what our soul is called to do? Does each of our life's purpose always pair with our true soul calling? I'd love to gain more clarity on my soul's true calling. Woo! Oh my goodness. Okay, that's a big question. So one thing I always say to people is do not get hung up on the my big life purpose thing. When you're doing it, trust that you will know. If you're constantly looking for the purpose, you like this idea of purpose, you might lose out on just where you're supposed to be, which is meant to be the present. So I didn't know what my true calling was until I started to look backwards and say, oh, I've been doing that. I'm the type of person where I like to try a lot of different things. If I'm not happy, I try something new. I have moved up and down the Eastern Coast ever since I got out of my childhood home. Because every year to 2 years, I was like, this isn't it. This isn't a new place. I've lived in DC. I've lived in New York. I've lived in Asheville, in Raleigh, in Elon for what it's worth. I have lived in Wilmington now. Like I've popped back and forth between Philly and Atlanta and Baltimore. I've been all over the place because I knew that I couldn't just be in one place that I wasn't thriving in. And what's thriving, right? I didn't know it until I started to feel it. Until I started to have like this sort of hunger for it. And then I was like, I feel alive. Like I feel like I'm here. And so I kept following that feeling until I wound up where I'm at. Oftentimes I talk to people, they may have not left their hometowns, or they went to college and they came back to their, home and that kind of thing. And I don't want to sit here and be like, figure it out. The money will find a way. I understand that is a factor. I've talked about my time being houseless here before, going in and out of hostels, living out of a bus, living out of cars, like that kind of thing. I don't want to sit here and be like, and everything will figure itself out. No, that's the school of life. If you're not in the school of life, what is safety anyway? Like, what is safety? Safety starts here. And I didn't know that until I really started to figure that out for myself. Anyway, that's a whole rant, Katie. I'm not ranting at you. So, I would say what work to find the true alignment and what the soul is called to do. Look at what makes you feel the most fulfilled in your life. Where are you most fulfilled? And maybe that's like a small part of your life. Maybe that's like crocheting on Saturdays. Keep going. Look for the places where you are fulfilled. Because what this course was talking about, what I was talking about due to the question that was being asked here, had to do with what I have found my purpose to be in this incarnation at this time. Which is, it's my tagline, illuminating spirits within and beyond. It's illuminating ghosts within and beyond. I did not know that about myself years ago, but I was doing it. So what does that mean? Looking inside of yourself and realizing who you are and where you're at. How to be in your present. I do it with the incarnate. I do this with the spirits. I've been doing it for a long time. But if you had asked me 6-7 years ago what my purpose was, I'd be like, I don't know. I was doing it then, but I didn't realize I was doing it then. I had to be able to look back and have that perspective to look back. Also, I had to go to therapy like a lot to live in the present, that kind of thing. So yeah. Okay. The second question was, what's the difference with working with your guides versus higher self? You said that spirit guides work with you for what you want for you, which makes sense, but I'm wondering where our higher self comes into play. I've heard of people working with both. Yes. So as of this past year, I've become one of the people who works with both. Here's the thing. I look at, what's a good analogy? I consider my higher self like the principal of my school. I consider spirit guides my teachers. That's the difference, right? Now, I like to think I have a good relationship with my higher self, so it's not a crazy idea to go into the principal's office to, be like, hey, I have this idea to better the school, or I am raising funds to do this thing, or something like that. And the higher self can be like, check, okay. But the higher self isn't like up in my business on a day-to-day basis. That's more for guides. They are closer to the sharing of frequencies to actually share this plane here. So that's more of the difference. Now, would I consider my higher self a kind of guide? Yes. Also, thank you, Jersey Mike. Though it's not in the same way that my spirit guides are, because my spirit guides are more day-to-day, easier to access. Other people may read them easier because their frequency level is closer to ours who are incarnate. Yeah, I think that answers the question. I hope that answers the question for you. Would there be a type of situation where you would meet a ghost part of yourself? If you're meant to, you will. I don't think most people will. If you're not typically meeting ghosts anyway, probably not. But who am I to say? I don't know your life track. So what this question is referring to is, and I mentioned this in the course having to do with death and transition, ghosts are the piece of ourselves that are so attached to something here on our physical plane, named people, trauma, locations, things. Oh, hey, Catherine, with the tiny. Okay. Made me react. You win. Okay. So here I am talking about ghosts, and I'm like, hello. So, and thank you, Joey. I'm glad that you find this information useful. So, yeah, ghosts are the piece that come off, and the rest of the soul can move on. And that piece of the ghost has to learn why they stayed behind and if it's actually that important or not. So, can that soul move on, incarnate, and then go back and be like, whoa, I know you? Yes. In my experience, it has been rare to do. But that's just my experience, and this was something I started to become more aware of in the last year, about like soul types and different sorts of pie pieces and all of that sort of thing. So maybe it is more common than I know. I'm not sure. And I imagine maybe it'll be more common the more people wake up to what's going on, the more planes that are shifted, the veil has gone away. There's a lot of things. So, yeah, it's, I'd say it's possible, though understand you don't necessarily have to go looking for those pieces, or if you're concerned about it, you can talk to your guides and be like, hey, when I'm dreaming, can I go pick up those pieces and make sure they're okay? Yeah. I wouldn't say that you're any less of a soul just because you may have some of those ghost pieces somewhere. So, yeah. Okay, cool. Checking in with the chat. What's up, everybody? Let him cook. I just saw that. Thank you for the gift. I do have another question from one of my Patreons, but I'm just checking in with folks. What's up? I'm gonna go through the chat. Hello. Ooh, question from a White Heart. Ever since I was a kid, I've been getting sick before an important event in my life. Is it spiritual? Ooh, I used to get sick every year on my Yeah, I used to get sick every year on my birthday. It was literally the only day of the year that I would get sick. I would get a fever and I wouldn't be able to go to school. There were plenty of times where I wasn't able to eat cake on my birthday and I had to have soup. My mom actually took a picture of me for my birthday one year and I was just so dismal and I was just like looking up at the camera like this, like over my cake that I couldn't blow out because I was sick. And then wouldn't you know it, next day I was fine. So, is that spiritual? It could be. One, you may need to recognize the difference for yourself between excited nerves and anxiety nerves. This could also be something to do with self-worth. Do you feel that you are worthy of having good things happen? Or if you're getting sick before something not great happens, maybe that's kind of like your telltale sign. Sometimes we just need to tell ourselves, like, acknowledge, our bodies and be like, hey, I see you. So often we don't acknowledge our bodies. That's also, a lot of people will get sick because they're not giving their body rest. Now, I wish I could be like, oh yeah, it's, everybody take better care of yourself. Though I also understand, like, a lot of us are working very hard and it's hard to get time to rest. So I just want to offer consideration there, because I know for some people it's easier than others, especially for some of you, you may be working 3 jobs and you're doing all you can. Thing is, so often if we don't give our bodies rest, our bodies will rest for us. Our bodies will figure out and be like, we're exhausted, let's be exhausted, and that's how we get sick. Now, I'm not saying that's every time that we get sick, but that can be a way that we get sick. So yeah, I would say check your regular rest, check your self-worth, and check your intuitive signs. Make sure you're acknowledging your intuition on that level. So yeah, that was a good question. Thank you. Ooh, good question from Ashley2105. Is it possible to visit other realities of ourselves in different dimensions in our sleep? I believe so. I have done this. And it was weird. It was really weird. Usually it is really weird. Sometimes our soul will go home when we're asleep to go check out things. And then maybe this is the dream to them. It depends. I've talked to different people about different things. Now, it is very important, I say that, but let's be sure that we are living in our present. We never want to be like, I want to go to sleep so I can go to the other land. Nope. If we are incarnate here, we have stuff to do. And if we don't do that stuff, we get to come back and try all over again. It is better to just do it now. It is better to use the resources that we have now. We are incarnate for different reasons, and all of those reasons absolutely matter. This is a group project that we are a part of, and I know those can be very stressful, but believe me, it's better to do it now than have to somehow pick up that group project when the group that you were working with has since moved on and you have to find a whole other group. So yeah, we are incarnate for very important reasons. But yeah, all to say, yes, we can go to different places, and that can be kind of weird sometimes in dreams. Thank you, Catherine. You sent me ducks. Okay. So, hi. I'm seeing different people saying hi. Oh no, that scares you? I think it's best not to overthink it. You gave me a duck again with a hat. Okay, thank you. These are cool. I haven't seen these before. Group project. Yeah, person is. Yeah. So yeah, I would say if you're doing that a lot when you sleep, find a creative venture to invest in so that you don't feel like you're going a little wacko at night. That might mean writing short stories, making art, making music. I also have a dream journal that I made that also helps me process my dreams. That's why I made it, and now I sell it. That's available on my website. It's also available on Amazon. So yeah, if you need help processing your dreams, you can find a creative venture to do that. I highly recommend it. Even just talking to somebody about it can be very, very helpful. So yeah, oh my goodness, you're giving me so many gifts. Thanks, Catherine. There's so many. Okay. So, well, all of y'all get to watch me gush for a minute. So yeah, dreams can be a sign of inner eye clairvoyance. Thank you, Persinius. Wow, that's fun. Yeah. yeah, so I feel like my lives are like this where I'm like, look at that gift, it's so funny. So, yeah. And remember inner eye clairvoyance. If you also have, if you're highly imaginative or whatever, that can also be a sign of inner eye clairvoyance. Dreaming can be a sign of inner eye clairvoyance. So, yeah. Thanks for calling. It's cute, Caitlin. I'm going to get to a question from another one of my Patreons. So, this Patreon, Mex, thank you. My question is in regards to how you use the pendulum. I love the idea of asking my higher self questions, but what are the parameters of the kinds of questions I can ask? Our higher selves can't know everything, I assume, right? They said that says my understanding of the higher self is still a little fuzzy, but I assume they are only able to know what's been experienced by the souls that are a part of the higher self. Is that correct? Or does their knowledge go beyond that? Woo, that's a lot of question. Okay. So, with that, higher selves are on, generally speaking, are on a frequency that it's not in our linear time. That's important to note. Time seems linear here because our bodies age. Time is not necessarily linear to others. So, does that mean that our higher selves are omnipotent? Not necessarily. They still have bounds and stuff that they adhere to and that kind of thing. Though I have also talked to my higher self about different threads of the future. So that's a thing. P.S. I use threads. That's a Grecian sort of understanding, different threads of the future. Future is mutable. I have found that we can change our fate. You know, that whole thing. Enjoy my broken Scottish accent there. I hope I didn't insult anybody. Let me tuck my leg back in. So, yeah. Oh, look at that. Thank you. Oh, hi, Krista. I gave you a shout out at the beginning. I was like, who's giving me stuff? Thank you. I think that was Mama person. Yeah, I only get like a little bit. Oh my goodness. Good question, Robin. I think of the threads thing kind of like how timelines are described in Back to the Future, right? Yeah, it can be like that. I would say that's. I think it's a little, like a lot more broad than that, but same idea. If that's what helps you understand, then yes. So yes. Okay. So getting back to this, higher selves will tell us what we can handle to understand at the time. Our guides will do the same thing. So yeah, it's not that they're lying to us, it's that they're telling us things that our brains will be able to handle. So often it is up to us to figure the things out in order to allow them to give us the necessary things that we need to know to move forward. There have been times where I've looked at both guides and my higher self and been like, why didn't you tell me? And they were like, well, you didn't put it together yet, so you did not deserve to know. That's one thing. I think some people think that if we can just access these beings that are here to help us, that they'll just tell us everything. Well, no, that's not what good teachers do. Good teachers will not give us all the answers. Good teachers will say, okay, well, how did you solve the problem in order to get to this said answer? That's what it is. Yes, Rebekah, perfect. We need to level up to earn more information. Yeah. And that just really means leveling up. Stay curious. It doesn't mean, like, we have to be the biggest, baddest, like, handle all of our shadow work and no more doubting ourselves and anything like that. I mean, sure, cool. But for me, it's just staying curious enough to get more answers. So, what kind of questions can we ask our higher selves? I would say broad things, especially if you're just connecting with them. Also, remember, higher selves, their frequencies will sit more up. As a clairsentient, I like to describe like locations. They will be like up here. Spirit guides will be up and out. Deities can also be here or kind of more up and out, a little bit to the side. Past loved ones will be more like this way. And then ghosts will be a bit lower, that sort of thing. Otherworldly creatures can be in between, depending. I will actually be going into that in a lot of detail in my keynote speech at Sacred Spaces too. So if you want to learn more about that, that will be then. Now, questions to ask higher self, especially using a pendulum, which implies more like yes or no questions. Let's see, what would I ask my higher self with a pendulum? I would ask, am I on the most beneficial path for where I need to wind up? Even that's vague. Okay. On a broad context, I would ask my higher self, I guess that would be a matter of being like, am I fulfilling my life purpose? Or am I doing what I need to do to grow? Or that kind of thing. Those might be yes or no questions to ask a higher self. Now, can your spirit guides answer the question? Yes. If your frequency or what you read the best is more akin to like even past loved ones or spirit guides, I would say tap into them. I think sometimes we get this idea that we have to be tapping into our higher selves. I only started talking to my higher self this past year. I don't consider myself any less or more for having done that. It is a frequency level thing. My guides are there to help me on the day-to-day things. My higher self is just more to like, she can help me on the big stuff. She can help me on intuitive downloads. She can help me on how to do the work that I'm doing in order to do a healing that I've, maybe it's a particular kind of healing that I'm doing for the first time. I'm actually, it's getting warm in here. All this talking. Warm in the tent. My goodness. Okay. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. I feel like it does. Yeah, it's kind of a complicated question, but maybe I just overcomplicated it. So, one, weigh in if that makes sense to you as far as like bigger concept questions to ask the higher self. Remember to feel upwards. Though, if you're having issues reaching that high of a frequency, it's okay. You're not any less of a person or a reader or whatever. Connect with your spirit guides. They are going to be closer to you. They are going to be easier to understand, generally speaking. Higher self thing does not make you any worse or better than anybody else. Please understand that. It is okay. All right. So, and yeah, can higher selves tap into the future? Yes, but which future do you want them to tap into? I recommend focusing on your present and making your future. Anywho, okay. Second question is, how did you go about doing your life or last life regressions? I remember seeing a video of you, one of your sessions a long time ago, where you went under hypnosis to tap into your past memories. How did you find someone not only to do that, but also that you trusted enough to do that regression with? Any tips for finding someone to do a regression with me? Or are there other ways to tap into old memories as well? Yeah, so one of my favorite things is in regards to memories. Yeah, Max, I'm answering your questions. If you're just now joining, I'm going to be putting the recording up on YouTube later, and I'll put that on Patreon for you as well. So, yeah, glad you could join us. Yeah, I answered the previous question. That one's going to be up on the recording. So, memory. We have access to memory at any given time. Our higher selves can help us with that. Akashic Records can help us with that. One of my favorite things that Ruha Bones says, fellow Rebekah, is that her memories are kept off site because she's got so much of them. And she's got to kind of channel them from time to time, especially if it's from otherworldly places, etc. I understand this now. At first I was like, oh, that's so funny. And then I started doing more and more. And then I started like merging with different parts of my soul structure and that kind of thing. It's been a wild ride. And now I'm like, okay, I can't have all of my memories in my head. So I channel them from the records or from my higher self at different times. So all of your memories are somewhere. Energy never dies. When we think, we make energy. Energy never dies. Now, whether all that energy is here or whether all that energy is connected to another plane where our memory sits, you get to decide what you believe for yourself. That I'm going to put out. So, how to find a past life regressionist. So, with Myra is who I met with for the past life regression. Those are on my YouTube, like from a long ways ago. She's one of the vetted practitioners on my page, though I'm currently redoing that site right now. Yeah, she actually reached out to me I'd like to say I manifested her to come and reach out to me, because she was just like, hey, I'm a past life regressionist. I would like to give you a session and go live with you to talk about it. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went to her webpage and I looked at some of her stuff and I got a feel for her. That was it. As far as like trusting somebody, that's going to come down to you and your intuition. If you have a weird feeling about it, don't do it. Even if that person is entirely good, maybe you're not at that place where you're ready to do it. That's okay. So yeah, also with hypnosis, at any point I could pull out of it. Like, there are a lot of things that she does to protect. Her handle is Soul Signs Hypnosis. Soul Signs Hypnosis. And for any of you in my Patreon community group, if you want to do a group hypnosis and actually share the cost with one another, she does offer those as well. I'm pretty sure she still offers those. We've had members in the group do that in the past, so that was cool. Yeah, in fact, if you want to put a post on the Patreon group thing, the Facebook page, to be like, anybody want to do this with me? Go for it. Start a group chat somewhere else. Or like figure it out. So yeah, you felt very comfortable with her. Yeah, I anytime I could wake up, and anytime I could like go to the bathroom, anytime I could just pop up, there are a lot of safety nets involved. At any point, if you don't feel safe with a hypnosis regressionist, get up and say no. It's going to be your intuition on that. And once again, it may not be the regressionist. It may not be you not being ready for it. And that's okay as well. Yeah, so yeah, she found me. I do a lot of manifesting to find the best people. And I wish I could sit here and be like, and it always happens, and I never meet anybody who doesn't resonate with me. No, I'm constantly learning life lessons. Constantly. And but for the most part, I have amazing people come into my life. Why? Because I stopped worrying about it and I started manifesting for myself, the best people find me. It's not I find the best people. No, that can be exhausting. The best people find me. So if that phrase resonates with you, take it, use it. The best people find me. The best people for me find me. I didn't always believe it when I said it, but I've said it so many times now, I believe it. So, yeah, she was one of those people. Emily Dexter, one of those people. Crystal and Sophia, one of those people. Officially Catherine, one of those people. Those on my readers team, those people. Like, I put myself out there. Thank you for the gift. I put myself out there here, and I trust people to find me through the right measures. Bruja Bones, one of those people. Which, by the way, I want to give her a shout out. She also has a Patreon. She did a long video on red flags versus green flags in the spiritual community. It is a rarity when I watch something and I verbally get engaged because it's so good. Like, it was so applicable. So much. Like, I'm sitting there, like, literally eating a salad. And at some point, like, my hands are in the air and I'm like, that right there. That's what I needed to know. That right there. Bruja Bones is amazing. She's going to be at the conference. She's one of those people. Like, one of her videos was shared with me on the community page. It was shared for everybody. And I was like, whoa, I have to follow this person. Found out she followed me and we've been talking ever since. So that was really cool. And now, like, how cool. So yeah, she did a video on red flags versus green flags. Now, they are her personal flags and that kind of thing. Some of which the information she's channeled from those that she talks to in spirit. And I thought it was an incredible video. And it was so validating for so many things that I've gone through in being on the internet. It was an incredible video. And it was so validating for so many things that I've gone through in being on the internet. I am fortunate to have friends that... Oh, time for the hour-long thing. Yeah, I'm a real person. Okay. I am fortunate to have friends who have been with me for years. Before the internet, for a lot of things that y'all don't know. And they have seen me in many different places. They've seen me from many different cities. We've had to maintain friendships in many different places all at the same time. And the most powerful kind of friendship for me is when people encourage each other to grow. It's not one person pulling from another person. It's not one person doing the growth and the other person like being a weight on them. It is when both people are growing separately in their own lives so that when they meet up, they have an understanding for each other. They have a particular level of appreciation for one another. My closest friends, my inner circle, those who have been closest to me, I have known them for years. We all have very different lives. They don't believe in all of this stuff. Not all of them believe in all this stuff. They're open-minded, but we don't always get into like the spiritual side of thing. Their spiritual journey is found in different areas. It may not be in spirit guides. It might be the spirit that they are connecting with within the incarnate person in front of them. How all of us are able to go off and grow and learn and take risks and put ourselves out there to try new things, to get hurt, to fail, to get up again, to move forward. And how these people ongoingly in my life, we have these experiences, and each time we get back together, it's just like, oh yeah, you've grown and I've grown, and we see each other's growth. So all that to say, once again, if I ever seem standoffish or anything like that, I have been burned from learning these lessons from people on the internet, people who they were growing, but we weren't growing in the right direction. Thank you, Stephanie. So yeah, I just have to be slower about that. That was part of my life lessons. And I'm not saying this is like woe is me, my life is so hard. No, I don't believe that. Certainly I could. There are certain areas of my life where I could just be like, I've done this and that, but I don't believe that. I don't adhere to that. I am here to grow. I am here to learn. Growth and learning don't happen from every safe space ever. The only safe space that we can ever actually truly have that's ours is here. How do we get this? Therapy. Mental health, or at least in my experience. I can only speak from my experience on this matter. So yeah, all that to say, I've learned a lot of things about red and green flags for myself. I've relearned these lessons from different locations, different sides, different people, that kind of thing. And I'm so grateful to have the people in my life that I have now. Even for those who I have only learned since I took off on the internet, that sort of thing, I've learned so much about what I can trust in people. Authenticity in people. People who don't hide behind these different walls. My ability to better understand myself and others comes from a lot of different things. All the same, I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful that y'all are watching. I'm grateful for my Patreon. I'm grateful for my consultations. I'm grateful that people want to sit down and share that with me, share that time and space with me. I never could have imagined I'd be in the place where I'm in right now. And I couldn't have told you what my life purpose was 3, 4, 5 years ago. Thank you, Mama Perseus. But now I'm here, and now I'm connected, and now I know. And now I know that I'm able to share that with all of you, that I might be some even small part of you realizing why you are incarnate now and why you are so important, why it's important that you are here now with me, even from where you are. We're all incarnate together. We're all watching together. Shoot, even if there are some spirit guides watching tonight or some ghosts watching tonight, we're still here. And that's so cool. That is so cool. So, here we are. Here we are. I did one of those things where I said a lot of words and I did the channel thing. That's, thank you, Persinius. You gave me a duck. Yay. Yeah. You want to talk about higher selves for a second? Now, was she specifically like, it just so happens my higher self is a she. It's not always lined up with your gender association while you are incarnate. It can change. But that's a kind of higher self message. It just flows like that. I think we do it more than we realize that we do. And isn't that cool? That we can have these messages that come through us that just vibrate through us. And we can share them with one another. And not to say a message at anybody, but just say like, hey, here are my words and thoughts. here you go. And you get to choose whatever you want to do with them, you know, which is also beautiful. So yeah. All right. Well, I've been on here over an hour. It has been super fun. Happy Friday, everybody. This recording will be up on YouTube at some point. I will be sure to share that to all of my members on Patreon. So remember, if you're not in the position to be able to pay on my Patreon, I absolutely understand. I have a free newsletter on there. All you have to do is sign up and you get to know what I'm doing for the month and that kind of thing. So these sorts of things are shared. I don't overshare on there because we get enough emails as it is. I don't like spamming people. That doesn't make me happy. That doesn't bring me joy. You know what I mean? So yeah, thanks everybody for being here. I'm trying to figure out how to get the live on from last Friday. I've been having a huge glitch. I think I'm going to have to do a screen record of the whole thing or just do audio only. I've tried to record it. But yes, I would like to put that Live with Hannah series up on my YouTube as soon as I can. So thank you. Yeah, I'll just go through the comments real quick. Thank you. Time and joy. Thank you. Yes, I know about the fake accounts. Please block and report them. I have blocked and reported all of them as well. I've done everything that I can, and that's all I can do. So yes, please block and report them. This is my only account. I will never DM you for readings. Ever. I'm way too strapped with my commitments as is to be DMing people about readings. Thank you for the gifts. I appreciate those. If you are interested in a reading, if you want to have one-on-one time with me, or if you have two-on-one time with me, if you want to do a joint soul journey reading with another person, whether they be romantic or friend or family or whatever, so long as they are open-minded to this and they want to sit down and do that, I would love to meet with you. I love my consultations, and part of the reason why I am downsizing is so that I can continue to be genuine and authentic and have that beautiful time that I share with people, either one-on-one or one-on-two, or one with however you and all of your spirit guides show up. That can always be fun too, where it's like, I feel many eyes on me. So yeah. Cool. Thank you. Yeah. Book is still a thing. So freaking excited for Sacred Spaces too. Yes, please check that out. sacredspacesgathering.com. We're doing it again. And yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, thank you everybody for joining. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your gifts. Thank you for your care and attention and time. And I hope you have a great night. And I feel like some of you will be joining another live soon. Maybe with an officially Catherine, who has some pretty exciting things to share with you. Like I had exciting things to share with you. So, little shout out. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Okay, yay. Anywho, okay, well, bye everybody. Have a good night.